Good evening, everyone. My name is Karl Helms. Just had a question for everybody, just a quick show of hands. When did everybody discover their major? Was it early in life? Was it later in life? Still, still discovering that? The ones that are early? All right. The ones that are later? Okay, perfect. Well, for me, in my life, it was pretty early in life. Just going through some things that over the years, growing up through my childhood, my grandfather was a major inspiration for me. Seemed like he knew everything and anything and knew everything about it. So he kind of, every time I was over there or had an opportunity to explain anything to me, he was giving me information and showing me how it worked. And I was a curious little kid growing up. I always wanted to know why and how and how this works. So learning from my grandfather, this is one of my aides. He passed this down to me after he passed away. This was his level, and we used it for a lot of things. Obviously, building, constructing, and just things about life. He told me about, whether things were level, there's one way to fix it. It could either go up or down. Make those adjustments accordingly to always keep a level head and level mind, and keep things on the right track. Like I said, whichever way you need to go, up or down, figure that out, fix it, and your life will be pretty easy, straightforward. The things that are level are pretty much the things that are structured. We build off of those, so that meant a lot to me. Finding out things early in life, kind of finding out, not necessarily I want to be an engineer, but I wanted to be something like designing, architect, and engineering, which involved problem solving and all that. I grew up with a larger family, 4 siblings and my parents, so we grew up kind of poor. At the beginning stages, 4 kids, it's hard to feed all the mouths, and everybody's hungry and wants to get stuff, wants this, wants that, new clothes, new shoes. Not enough money for everybody, so you kind of gotta pick and choose where you're gonna get, what you're gonna get. So it's kind of competitive growing up. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna eliminate that problem. I'm just gonna go out and get what I want myself. Even if my parents can't get it for me, I'm gonna figure out a way to get it myself. So that's when I was probably about 11 or 12 years old, and I always followed my father around when he push mowed the yard with my little kid mower, and walked around with the little pop, pop, pop thing, and thought that I was doing something amazing. So, which I was learning, a valuable trait of myself, that I enjoyed the aspect of being outdoors and doing landscaping and just, being involved out there. As I said before, times, money was tight, so if I wanted something, I had to go get it myself, which I'm a pretty motivated person. I'm not just gonna sit around and wait for something to be handed to me. So I'm gonna go get it, and I'm gonna find a way to go get it, which that's what I did. So I started mowing grass around the neighborhood at probably around age 13, strapped a push mower behind me and rode around on my bicycle in the neighborhood, cutting yards here, making new friends, making new acquaintances, just showing that I was a go-getter and ready to get out here and make some money and do something. But as I continued investing in my landscaping, sooner or later I got a riding mower, and then I could ride around the neighborhood without having to sweat my ass off, on my bicycle, pulling a push mower and equipment and forgetting this, forgetting that. So I got a riding mower with a little trailer, yard cart, and could put everything on it I needed. So that satisfied for a while. And then after the time, I became about 15, and I was like, my parents weren't the ones that were to take me to get my permit on time. As you're supposed to be 15, you can get your permit, and then I don't even know the things because I didn't get my license until I was 18. But at age 15, I saved enough money to go out and buy my first vehicle, which ended up being a motorcycle. Just because I didn't want to buy a scooter, because I didn't want to get ran off the road or passed all the time. Want to keep up with a safe flow of traffic. So I just went with motorcycle, and I was really, interested in motorcycles. So why not? After getting that, I was able to go out and do other things and get better jobs and better paying things that I could do this, that were still kind of local, with a buddy of mine that had a truck. So then we got a trailer, and it all went from there. It just kept going up and up and up. As long as we had that motivation, we were getting what we needed and getting it done and keeping satisfied customers. I also worked at about 2006, I started a couple buddies of mine own a granite fabrication shop, which is located right here in Sun Valley. And I've worked there for 18 years, and still keeping up with my second job of landscaping. Just because I enjoyed working there with all my friends. I enjoyed what I do. I work on a CAD program. I get to go out in the fields. I get to inspect. I get to tell people where they messed up and let them know. And sometimes it's not always the funnest, but hey, it's my job, so I have to do it. But I enjoy doing it. I've done every aspect of that job, from billing to scheduling to templating to installing, which I was quick to get out of that because it's backbreaking, and I'm not game for picking thousands of pounds up every day. It just becomes exhausting. So with all that, they spend a lot of time entertaining, even at the shop, like taking us on fishing trips, barbecuing at the shop. Just, they like to have fun, they like to entertain, they like to give you a reason to work harder, and it helps having that extra boost of motivation. And whether it just be a simple, hey, we're doing barbecue for lunch, or hey, stop what you're doing, we're going to the lake, and or hey, plan on doing nothing, we're going to Florida, we're going to Key West for a week. Just certain things that they just did that helped me stay in there. But I enjoy what I do. Let's see. But there comes a time in everybody's career where you may feel like you're maxed out of pay, in pay, and you're kind of burnt out into what you're doing and been doing, which was kind of the case for me. Not necessarily the burnout, because I still enjoy what I do, but I don't think they're gonna pay me any more than they do now. I mean, they might, but I've asked for raises, and they're like, come on, man, like, you make the most, out of a statewide, maybe even nationwide, for what you do. I was like, I understand, man, but I want more, everybody always wants more. But I had a couple visuals here. One I spoke of, which was my grandfather, and my family was all originated from military background, dad, both grandparents, uncles, everybody. So I had plenty of discipline and things that they taught me just about life, like punctuality, motivation, discipline, things like that, just help you keep your life in order at an early age and help, build that. But this is my father here. My father was a drill sergeant growing up. I don't know why it's so big, but sorry about that. There we go. This was my father, like I said, a drill sergeant. And growing up was pretty rough with him being so disciplined and needing everything in order. But like I said, it taught me to be the better person that I am today. He would come in and just do random things, like made sure my clothes were folded appropriately the way he wanted, nice and tight. Make sure my bed was made up, and would come in and do the coin flop test on me. And I was like, really, Dad? Come on. If I didn't get up for bed, get up from bed for school, mattress flipped over, time to get up, which, at the time I thought was a little cruel, but I needed that in my life at the time, because I didn't always have that motivation. But that's, those are kind of the things, like with the being maxed out on my pay and just kind of burnout, and that all led me to further my career, or future career, by coming to college, studying for my major of engineering. And but like I said, the 3 points that really helped me throughout my life were my grandfather, his teachings and knowledge and things that he passed down along to me that mean a lot. My motivation, my passions. Another passion of mine was I like to draw, like I sketch, just do sketches. I draw cars, landscape areas, which kind of leads me into my path of engineering and architecture, where you get to design things, you get to decide what goes here, what goes there, what works better here, what works better there. So just all these things kind of fit into my niche of engineering. And then one of my biggest contributors or motivators in my life was when I married my wife, and we've been married since 2017. We've known each other since we used to ride the bus in middle school, so high school crush. For her, for me, I was off to do other things at the time and had other things on my mind, so I wanted to get those done first, and then come back and say, hey, you still like me, kind of thing. So, and it worked. So, apparently she would have waited forever. So, but she's one of my biggest inspirations. She helps me going. She saved my life from, I was at a bad spot with addictions and just my life was spiraling, because I lost all motivation, lost care for certain things, let things go. But she showed me, hey, you need to stick it in there and it'll pay off, and it did. And she's the reason I'm here today, pursuing this because she said, hey, you got to get back in school and do what you want. But those are the few things that got me where I am today. And I call them the patches of my life, as they kind of stick to me and hold me together, where holes or voids might have been in your jeans, shirts, anything like that. But that's what I consider my patches of my life, and I appreciate everybody's time listening to me.